The Husqvarna Viking Brilliance 75Q has a great way to create your own patterns, such as putting multiple decorative stitches together in a new combination, or playing around with some of the alphabets. I mean, you can put together ways to monogram something, to put a quilt label all together, and to do so, we're going to start by touching your menu button, and we're going to be working in the program section, or where it says PROG. Once you touch it, you're going to notice that the screen kind of disappears and there's nothing there. At this point, we can put in any combination of stitches. So let's start with how we would put in decorative stitches. So if you touch and hold the top pink tab, and we were going to come down to example, let's go down to menu E, and let's put together a flower and I guess those would be the leaves and a flower. So at this point, what it'll do, and let's do the check mark, it will go ahead and stitch those two stitches repeating over and over and over. Super easy, and you can combine decorative stitches. You can combine a decorative stitch and some straight stitches so it spreads it out. You can have so much fun doing these different things. How do you clear it off? You're going to go ahead, touch the orange menu button, and then go back to program. Notice whatever's highlighted, you can touch the trash can and it will delete. Okay, so that's one way to delete something. If you have lots of stitches in your memory and you want to delete them very quickly, touch and hold this trash can. And it'll ask you, do you want to delete all stitches? And then touch the check mark. So they'll go away really quick. That's handy once you start doing like Merry Christmas and then you want to delete all those letters. You can just touch and hold the trash can. Okay, so speaking of letters, over here, if we touch the A, we'll get to our block alphabet. If we touch and hold the A, we will see we have 3 other American alphabets to work with, but for today, I'm going to just use the block alphabet. Here we have uppercase, we have lowercase, and we have numbers and symbols to go with that. Each of the pages has kind of, I call it an upside down staple, and that's your space. So if I want to do A, B, C, and then space, I can D, E, F. Okay, so that's how easy it is. Now you do see that it's running kind of up and down, or you have to tilt your head to the right to see it. Well, that is actually how it's going to stitch. So make sure that when you're going to sew, you position your fabric so the letters are going to sew out exactly the way you see them. A lot of times people will draw a line so that they have something to kind of guide the presser foot with. Otherwise, you're going to probably have some letters that are going to start to go downhill or uphill. And it just is nice to have a visual place for your letters to stitch. So I'm going to touch and hold the trash can. And let's do this. Let's go ahead, and if I wanted to do uppercase and lowercase, V-I-K-I-N-G. And then I go ahead. I can see I have exactly what I've typed in, and it's also going to stitch it over and over and over. So if you wanted to only do it one time, come over to the front of the machine, right here where the stop light is, and touch stop. You'll notice that, did you see it disappeared? Where it's only going to do from Viking down to the G and then stop stitching. So a lot of times when we just need one repeat, the stop is my go-to to make sure that I don't have more than I bargained for when I start to sew. So whatever you're going to stitch, let's go ahead and stitch this out and see how it looks. This would be a great place to even use your start-stop button, and then again, it's just going to stop at the end of the last letter. Again, another thing to use is some stabilizer, so it helps make sure that your fabric doesn't kind of get wrinkled up. And let's just use the scissor button at the end, and then let's take a look at what we see. So we have, oh, that's fun. Now people always ask us, like, do we actually cut these stitches apart? And the answer is no, you really don't want to, because it's not going to look probably as good. Leave it connected all the way through there. I know even with the eye as it jumps up to try to give you a little bit to that eye, that is one thing to just connect and leave it there. I will tell you, for the most bang for your buck, when it comes to lettering, for the size, if you're looking for a bigger size, is to go ahead and use all capitals. What are we talking about? Let's go ahead and actually do just that. Let's go to Program. Let it go ahead and come up, touch and hold the trash can. We'll just delete it all and do it fresh as we put in the letters one more time. You will find that these are going to be bigger letters. Now, you can actually go in and touch the editing tool, and we could actually size those letters, not really further up, but we could, if you wanted to, we could actually make them different heights. So you have control over that. You can actually, I'm noticing I can make them a little bit bigger. So whatever letter I have highlighted, see how I'm kind of increasing. Let's do this. Since I'm on the path here, I'm just arrowing up, letting the next letter highlight and increasing it to be a bigger size. And yes, you have control over each stitch and each, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. All right, let's go ahead. Is to come over and we'll stitch it out. Now, if you don't push stop before you start, you can also do this. As you start, remember we can touch the scissor button. I've pushed it once. That means that it's going to go ahead and stitch out all the letters or parts of the program for you. And then at the end, it's going to lock, stop at the end, and then cut the thread. So it's actually going to do everything all at once. And you're going to, here we go, here's the lock. And since we hit the scissor button, you'll also get the cut and the lift all in one. So this is how you can get the biggest result for your letters. So can you compare the first V that we stitched and the second V? That's how we got it bigger. So those are things that you can do with your machine. And see how the I is actually, I think it looks better because it's not trying to stop and do that little extra dot. Also too, anytime that you do use upper and lower case, right here where the G, some letters go below the baseline, everything gets a little bit smaller because of that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Not that you can control how words and letters are stitched out, but if you do all capitals, you're always getting the maximum height because nothing is going to come below this baseline and affect the size of the whole design. So I hope you'll have some fun with this, and you can have it, you can put in anything you want. You can have spaces. You can have even a decorative stitch at the end. So if I had wanted to jump back and add a heart to the end of this program or a heart at the beginning, I could do that. So I hope you'll try out some different styles, play around with your memory, and you can see, check out actually your book, which even has a couple examples in there as well.